Chris Gore got the knowledge in store. Oh yeah, Alan Lang watching top of the fire. Movie and TV show reviews that you need. Film threads on fire, we're planting the seeds. Film thread, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal. Turn your phone, it's the place to be. Movie lovers gather round. 1, 2, 3. From blockbusters to indie gold. Oh yeah, Chris and Alan break the mold. Pop your corn, turn down the lights. Get ready to groove through movie nights. Film thread, we keep it real. Dive into the stories, you know the deal.
Hey, happy Friday. It's time to review movies. That's right. And Alan Ing is here. We're going to talk Kraven. We're going to talk The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. We're going to talk big hammer popcorn buckets. So much to discuss. Your comments and questions. And we do have some movie news. That's right. News. Lots of news. And I'll say this. Happy Friday the 13th. It only comes along every maybe a couple times a year. I can't wait. Let's get going. Let's start the show. I'm gonna wait. The song is starting over again. This is not good. This means I have not truly done my job. Let's go. I know he's there, but I know what will make Alan appear.
Alan.
That was Alan the Hunter. You were a hunter.
Yes, I was. I was. And that's not far off the plot from the actual Kraven movie.
Oh, we'll get to it.
Oh my gosh. But last night, oh my gosh, to watch Kraven with 3 Hollywood writers was quite an adventure.
We have to save it for the review. We had so much fun. We met up with Paul Chato, script doctor, some other Hollywood people. They're not Hollywood. Actually, they're not Hollywood people.
Yeah, but they write. They've done Hollywood things. They're professional writers. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, and oh my God, it was. I'll say this. We'll talk about the movie, but we had fun.
Yeah,
we had. I think it's because we went to happy hour.
Mm-hmm.
I said, let's meet early. We'll see an early movie so we get it over with.
Yeah.
Rip the Band-Aid off. And we are at Yard House like 3:00. Movie was at 4:30. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have to say, we'll review it in a moment, but Kraven was a special movie. And we made it special.
Yeah, so special. Let's see who's here before we get things started. MK Solid, we love MK Solid coming through with all sorts of, we are getting memed to death.
One man dominates my X notifications.
I love it. MK Solid, we appreciate you so much. Thank you. Booze helps everything. Bill S. Preston, Esquire. I almost bought the SWAT tickets to the 10:30 a.m. show for Kraven, but the rhino footage looked ridiculous. Spidey Sensei 72. You have no idea. You have no idea. And of course, Dark Sith 87, member for 25 months. That's a lot of support. TGI TF. That's thank God it's Film Threat Friday. And as a member, you get access to all of our, member exclusive videos. And I'll be talking about one of those later in the show because we got a huge exclusive. And Alexander Souza, Chris is effing glowing, effing red. What the? I don't know.
So red.
Oh my God! Should I?
Well, you were drinking last night for one thing.
I wasn't drinking at all. I had a soda.
Yeah, you look especially red this morning.
Okay. Do you want to fix it live? So I'm going into webcam settings just for Alexander.
There you go.
Saturation. Is that better? Or is
you
this
actually just
better?
had it? Yeah. Well, less red in that one.
Like here? What's
Yeah, I mean,
good?
that feels more normal, but for some reason you are coming off very red.
What is wrong with me here? I'm just okay. Too red, but this is about right. I don't think this is bad. The sunburn filter. Okay, as I see it, I look nearly normal. Is that good?
Yeah.
What
So
do
apparently
think?
you're making me come off as more yellow. I mean,
You're yellow, right? Or is that sure?
yeah. Well, I don't like the
This is better.
harsh white light on me. That's why.
Okay, well, I think this is better. You know, do we do more contrast? No,
No, that's worse.
that's worse. I think this is it's the saturation.
You
Okay,
don't have like
less red. Why don't I just keep that open webcam filter?
yeah.
So there you go. I fixed it. Thank you, Alexander. Appreciate that. Sorry, I took over your job of reading these. Go for it, Alan.
No, go ahead. If you Skiz Spivak Esquire for $6.99 Canadian gives us a super sticker, and I want to believe it's something obscene.
And also right here.
Yeah, Lord Thoth, like, share, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, sign up as a member, join us on X, Discord, Rumble, and Instagram, buy our merch, shop.filmthreat.com.
Here it is. Look at the shop. It is glowing on fire, the shop. And someone got a very good Christmas gift. Your daughter has the Allen sweater.
Yeah. I didn't have to coax her to buy it. She said, I want that. And I go, okay.
Oh,
my wife got that Wicked one, the pink Wicked.
Oh, that's great. Here it is. Here's the Allen sweater.
Yeah.
And is this your daughter? She looks great.
I know.
He looks great in that sweater.
From my loins comes great beauty.
There you go. And that's you go.
My son, yes.
Yeah, your son. It's great because it's if they did the Netflix Allen show, this is your son.
The Allen Family Hour. That would be my
no explanation. They'll just do that. Oh my God. Go to shop.filmthreat.com for all that. We appreciate that you support us. And another reminder that tickets are on sale now for Award This. I'll show you. It's on the Frida Cinema website. Link in the description. You go to Award This link tree. The tickets are now on sale. Sunday, February 2nd, 2025. Our annual event. Filmmakers, comedians, critics, Alan and I will be there. Other writers from Film Threat will be there. Tickets are on sale now. And we have a little promo that I can show you that will give you a taste of what you'll see. It's also just, honestly, an excuse to have a party. Not going to lie. It's an excuse to have a party. Here we go. A little tease.
This was a film that we shot on a $30K budget.
We're not going to get Oscars. We're not going to get Independent Spirit Awards. We don't have the huge budgets to get those awards.
While Hollywood continues to churn out sequels and franchise factory films, exciting and original indie movies of all kinds are being released in theaters, on demand, and on streaming, and we're here to celebrate them.
So crazy. Thank you so much.
I'm gonna fill this with Mountain Dew.
First they ignore you, and then they laugh at you, and then they fight you, and then you win.
You guys help everyone in this room push the dream a little bit longer.
I think that Film Threat and Award This really are champions, true champions of independent film, which we've seen here.
Well, that gives you a taste. That's actually, for me, that's the most fun part, is seeing the filmmakers receive awards. But there is comedy bits. You get a taste of these movies. There's a pre-party, an after-party, a gift bag, the whole breadth of the awards experience. And I was watching the Game Awards of all things, put together by
Game Awards.
The Game Awards, put it together by Jeff Keighley, who I used to work with at G4.
Yeah.
That event is huge. They had Harrison Ford was there promoting the whole thing is a commercial for games, which is what award shows kind of are. Promote the thing. And it is the production value. I have to give him credit. This is a multi-million-dollar. It had 6 million views after the first hours it was on. We don't get as many views, oddly. Yeah. But
I like to think he learned the mistakes he made at G4, the new G4, and then put it in the game.
Well, he wasn't a part of the new G4, Jeff Keighley, but he really has done a job. I have to give him credit for it. Indie film interests, much smaller. We're more low budget punk rock event. So, we still have fun, but man, that Game Awards, I couldn't actually watch it because it's such a cringe by the numbers type of award show that I think that the era of that kind of show is done. Ours is not done like a typical award show at all. We kind of mock award shows while we're doing an award show, but I couldn't watch it. I watched Asmongold watch it. I don't know if you watch Asmongold. You've ever heard of that guy?
I've heard of him. I don't watch him.
He looks like Jesus. Anyways, I will catch him on occasion with his social commentary or commentary on games. I couldn't watch. I had to watch him watch the show. Basically, speak aloud the things I was thinking. So, but anyways, Arsh, go to our link tree actually, linktree.com/award this,
yeah,
because that's all the links, the nominees, the tickets, everything, and all the past events going back to 2019 when Alan, you were on a couch.
Yes.
You were on a couch.
Yeah. And there was a cassette tape, a coffee table in the form of a cassette tape in front of us.
It's right here, actually. Yeah. It's right in my place here right now. It's so cool. Let's see. Okay. Moving on. Alan, happy Friday the 13th.
Happy Friday the 13th. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel to celebrate anything. Happy birthday, by the way.
Yes. Well, happy Friday the 13th. I love this day. It's an excuse to re-experience maybe Friday the 13th movies. And I found something. And when I say found, on the Found Footage Festival website or YouTube channel, they also have a website. They have a Roku channel. So look up Found Footage Film Fest. I love these guys. Joe and Nick created this thing. They have thousands of VHS tapes. They share things. They found a Friday the 13th video I've never heard of. Have you? And I thought you, Alan, as my friend, I know what you like. I thought you might like this. Friday the 13th, A Nude Beginning. Now, I don't know what this is, and I haven't watched it yet. It's 2 minutes. Should we watch? And my friend Shane Mackey from Atlanta is going to love this too, because he's a Jason fan. Friday the 13th, A Nude Beginning. Are we ready to celebrate Friday the 13th by watching whatever this is?
Yeah, just be prepared to shut it off if something.
All right, it's on YouTube, so I assume A Nude Beginning. There may not be anything nude, but let's watch it. Let's watch it.
Are you at it again?
At what again?
Those stupid pictures, Jason. Can't you find a better way of getting things done than cutting up those stupid pictures?
They're not stupid.
They are stupid, Jason.
You're just jealous.
Of what, Jason? The fact that you can cut up little pieces of paper?
No, the fact that I can do something with a simple yet elegant method.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
Do-what, 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 do-what. Jealous.
Come to you on behalf of the brave and valiant rebels of my...
The acting was pretty bad. Now, that was back, I assume that's a clip from an adult film and something we could show, but I'll say this, that was back in the day when a performer would only perform with, say, one, maybe two, maybe three people. Now the stakes apparently have been raised. If you've been paying attention to the news, now it's 100,000. This is crazy, but that was the old days when an adult performer would basically be more conservative and just be with one or two, three people. So happy Friday.
You gotta watch these clips before you play them.
I did watch it. I just wanted to make you nervous.
Oh my God, that was horrible.
It was horrible. Okay, here we go.
Thanks for that gift.
That's my gift to you.
Yeah.
Mainly because this will make a good clip on the channel. So here we go. Here we are.
Alejandro Montoya Marin for 199. I heard you guys loved Kraven. Happy Friday.
Well, happy Friday, Alejandro.
We loved watching Kraven. Let's put it that
we
way.
loved watching Kraven. Yeah, we'll get to that. Alejandro, by the way, he has been nominated multiple times for award this. He's been involved in a lot of projects. So, and we're going to see him in February. And you're in our clip. You're in the clip that we showed. That's great. Thank you, Alejandro.
Okay, MK solid for 5. Chris, what's your opinion on Hideo Kojima's sucking up to every celebrity and movie ever made? It's gotten kind of silly. I do love his work.
I don't know a lot about that. So what I'm comfortable doing is not having an opinion. Alan, you?
I think he's not knowing anything about this. I would guess he's just being diplomatic and positive.
Really? Really?
Yeah, maybe. I have no idea.
There you go, MK. You caught us. We have no opinion on something you're asking us. We don't like a lot of people feel obliged. Like, well, if I'm going to have an opinion on that. I have opinions on things I know about, which I know is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to have strong thoughts. All right. Another thing, we are going to get to our reviews. We have a lot, but I wanted to show this because we had our discussion with Justine Bateman about AI. And I do think that if the data sets are based on, if you're monetizing it and the data sets are based on, say, you, I have issues. And I think that her thoughts on AI are, you know, it's with the intention of saving the industry. But I am entertained by some of these. And I saw Redneck Dune. Have you seen these Redneck trailers? So there's a Redneck Dune. They do a song. It's sort of a redneck thing, and then they. I mean, look, it's all in good fun, and I wanted to share it with you guys because I don't know. I like Dune a lot. This is Redneck Messiah Dune. Let's just watch it. Let's watch it. You ready, Alan?
Yes.
Here we go.
Way down yonder in the Louisiana mud lives a boy named Paul, born of noble blood. Daddy's running the swamp with mud on his hands while mama's calling demons for her one-night stands. The spice flows thick where the swamp winds scream, swamp folk riding worms living redneck dreams. Swamp worms roll where the crawdads hide, big old beasts that'll take you for a ride. Deep in the bayou where the swamp gas steams, Paul's fighting fate and chasing his dreams. Shanie's his girl, born the bayou grime, tough as a gator and sharp as moonshine. Stilgar grins with his belt half split and shouting, Paul will save the swamp as it was written. The Harkonnens show up with their fat old crew, but Paul's got a worm and he knows what to do. Swamp worms roll where the crawdads hide. Big old beast that'll take you for a ride. Deep in the bio where the swamp gas steams. Paul's fighting fate and chasing his dreams. Jessica's mixing shine with spice, saying drink up boy and you'll see paradise. The Baron floats in from the swamp below, saying the moonshine must flow. Fades his nephew slick as a snake, but Paul's coming in with the risks he'll take. Swamp worms roll where the crawdads hide. Big old beast that'll take you for a ride. Deep in the bio where the swamp gas steams. Paul's fighting fate and chasing his dreams. Then worms burst up, shaking the bayou floor. Paul jumps on the biggest, hear the crowd roar. He's riding that worm through the cattails high, claiming the holler, raising spirits to the sky. Through muck and mire with a heart of fire, the swamp folk cry, he's our Messiah. Swamp worms roll where the waters run wide. Big old beast that'll take you for a ride. Deep in the bio where the swamp worms scream. Paul's their savior, or so it would seem.
Yo, there you go. There you go, Alan. What did you think?
I missed the redneck genre. We were talking about
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
We were talking about Dukes of Hazzard last night, and how Stephen J. Cannell, Dukes of Hazzard, all these great television shows that we could never have again.
Yeah, it was a different time. Look, I love that. My only beef with it, I wish it was in the desert, like in Bakersfield or something. It should have been. I know it's swamp, the whole thing, redneck, but can't you do rednecks in the desert? That would have made more sense. So, minor critique. I am entertained by these. It's not a movie, it's good fun, like a video version of a meme. So because I love memes, I think they can say a lot in so few words, just an image. So I for one think it's funny, and I like anything Dune. That's sort of my fault. I just ordered the dumbest thing ever because I had a discount code.
Dune Crocs.
I'll tell you, I ordered Dune socks, and then I ordered a Dune Christmas stocking. That exists. So there you go. Okay. Let's go to your comments here.
John Z, I would definitely watch Redneck Dune 3-hour, 4-hour release.
Nice.
Ron Charman, this is what AI was made for. Absolutely.
Yeah, dumb stuff.
Olaliukui, need a more authentic accent, but the landscape sure are pretty. Uncle Remus, I would watch this movie. Yeah. Christopher Moonlight Productions. I feel that whether Ms. Bateman is conscious of it or not, many of her anti-AI arguments are incorrect, based on bad faith assertions. More on that soon. I plan to respond.
Yeah, we're going to have Christopher on we do like an AI show with Versus when there's nothing going on. And we'll talk about just AI, the future, how indie filmmakers can utilize it, perhaps be competitive with the studios, but I think there's a way to do it ethically. So,
yeah,
I don't think toothpaste is out of the toothpaste. What did it say? You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Yeah. So it's out. It's happening, whether we like it or not. So there you go. All right. Next topic. I was at a special screening of Wicked, and this was at CAA. They do screenings of movies. You've been there, Alan. We've been there together. They do. And what this is for, these are not open to the public. These special screenings are for mostly Academy voters and CCA voters, of which you and I are a part. So these are private events, and what the performers, so they screen a movie and they'll do a Q&A after. And if you are a member of our channel, you'll see this entire Q&A with Ariana Grande and director John M. Chu for members only on the channel. I have never seen a screening like this so packed. So what I'm saying is this is for the industry. This is the industry talking to itself. They're lobbying for your vote for an Oscars or for the Critics' Choice or whatever. So Ariana Grande was there, and she brought friends. There was Dylan Mulvaney was there, of all things.
Wow. Did you get a photo?
I wanted to. This person was very aloof. Very aloof. But in any case, it was a ton of people there. I barely got in. I got in and was the front row was the only row left. I said, I will sit in the front row. Other people refused. Boom. I'm in the front row. You want to see my view? I will show you right now my view from the front row. Here we go here. I will present it to you. It's okay. Well, that's something. Hang on. This was me in the front row. This was my view. That's how close I was. It was almost kind of scary, right? So I'm sitting there, front row. The movie's over. My third time seeing it. I really enjoyed it. And John M. Chu, Ariana Grande, they come out. She addresses the tears on the tour. John M. Chu, I mean, I'm not going to show the whole thing. I'll show the beginning, a few minutes of this, because I want you to see where she talks about that. But you can also see the full Q&A over 20 minutes for our members only. Please watch those videos. I don't feel comfortable posting those to monetize, but I will put them in a place where privately people can check them out. So she talks about how intense making the movie was, how it was so intimate and like a personal, like it was very, like while it was a big production, it was like a very intimate, like almost indie film way they shot it. So the performances came off very authentic. And I have to say, before this, I don't even know who Ariana Grande. I mean, I know she was on SNL and, you know, she's music. I'm not the target demo. Her target demo, mostly children. And there were a lot of kids there. And when it was done, security usually like goes, okay, let them go. And all these kids swarmed her. She was doing selfies. It's crazy. But let me show you just some of the video that I shot while we were at the event. And this will give you a taste of what it's like to go to these things. So here we go.
Good evening, everyone. Hello, my name is Jacqueline Coley. I'm the awards editor at Rotten Tomatoes, and it is my honor to moderate this conversation with some of the cast and the filmmakers of Wicked. A little bit of housekeeping. I'm going to bring them up here, but when I'm done, it's only going to be a few minutes. Please hold your seats because we kind of have to whisk them out of here. And Mike, the lovely security guard, I don't want y'all, he's a nice man. I need y'all to keep your seats. Look at that. But without further ado, please allow me to welcome to the stage John M. Chu and Miss Ariana Grande.
We're right here with you guys.
Good to see you. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. First of all,
we're so close.
I know. We're up close and personal.
Beautifully intimate.
Just like the film you gave us, ma'am. John, I'm going to start with you because I'm going to do a little bit of a recap. Let's see. In a few days, the film's going to cross 500 million at the global box office. We are waking up to 4 Golden Globe nominations. Should have been 5. We have certified fresh in the tomato meter, verified hot audience reviews. People are all over our FYP with TikToks. What has this reception been like for you? And I'm going to ask you the same question, but I'll start with you, sir.
I don't know what a popcorn meter is, but I'll take it.
It means the audience.
It means the audience. Which is what really counts. It's been really overwhelming, really beautiful. You know, making a movie is sort of lonely, and we're all together, and we're like, no one ever looks at the details of what you're doing, but you just try to do the best work and get it out there. And you know, I've been around long enough. There's ups and downs, and you just sort of like create this protective shield. but to see the audience adopt it and love it and do the dances and quote the little moments that we love in the edit room, we laugh about when Nessa goes, yep, and suddenly the audience is doing it at home. It just is everything you dream of, at least for me as a storyteller, to really plug into people and have them take your baby and make it into their own thing. And so that's been really fun. Really, I love when they give this woman her respect that she deserves.
There has to be some respect. I mean, you just won National Board of Review, Best Film, Best Director for you, also the Spotlight Award for you and Cynthia. I mean, what has this been for you, though, ma'am?
I mean, it's truly surreal. I don't know how to articulate my gratitude, my gratitution, if you will. No, but it's really extraordinary. I think we love this thing as much as we do, and to see it be received the way that it's been received is, I mean, you can't articulate it. It's really powerful and special, and now you know why we cry so much.
You see. So I also, by the way, shot this for your wife. Wanted to go, was supposed to go. She could not make it. But yeah, clearly she's aware of the reaction to her weirdness. I wanted to ask her if she had seen that parody. There was no Q&A open to the audience.
Yeah.
But we'll play a little bit more. What do you think, Alan?
Yeah. Is she going to comment more about the tear-filled press tour, or?
He talks about how intimate it was. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is it's fun to go to these things.
She makes a joke. Now you know why we cried so much on the thing. So yeah, let's play a little bit more.
Okay. It's really special, and the love that we've been feeling, and like John said, the details that the fans have been noticing, the choreography they've been memorizing,
the purple bob girl.
Oh, she's everything. No, but the people in their kitchens singing the end of "No One Mourns the Wicked." It's just really special.
Right.
Yeah.
That we love so much in the edit room, the fact that they see it.
It's cool to see that. It's special.
I mean, it proves the craftsmanship that you all put into this, the passion that all of you put into this. And I'd like to talk now that the film has been out in the world. First of all, how many of you have already seen it and are seeing it again?
Second time.
Love that.
7.
Oh, wow.
7 times. 7 times.
Are you my mom? Are you?
I love that.
I mean, we can go on and on,
Yeah,
and let's. But look, it was cool to see. I feel like, at least because I was there, I think she's very real. Like she's authentically, if you've very rarely in my life have I accomplished something where I've, been, tearful about it. I think the birth of both my kids, I was tearful. Certain moments, I think it's part of it is exhaustion. When I finished Attack of the Dock, it was such a year's worth of working on that movie. So I understand the creative effort being put in and how that can get you emotional. So I'm not as critical of other people. It was a little weird and kind of strange. But at the same time, people that are normal people are not drawn to do this and put this much effort. You have to have something a little off to want to put that much effort into doing a thing that puts a spotlight on yourself. And also it's a lot of risk because you open yourself up to so much criticism. So I get it. And for our members, the entire video is up, and I do this for you. I've got some other good ones coming up. Trust me. So there you go.
I've got one. I've got one coming up. I love Q&As. I love the magic, behind the scenes magic of movies. We talked a little bit about that last night, but movies is magic. It's how do you I think Justine talked about it, but how do they pull these things off? How do they pull these shots off? She talked about Sunset Boulevard, and that's why that's what excites me about these Q&As. You just get a little behind the scenes look at this masterpiece you just seen, and the little things, the little unknown things that they did to pull it off.
Yeah, this weekend I'm seeing a Q&A screening of Sing Sing and The Substance with Demi Moore. Demi Moore on Sunday. I'm going to that at CAA. I can't wait to see a Q&A with Demi Moore. Maybe I'll get to talk to her. We'll see. But I bring this to you and hope you guys take advantage of that. All right, let's go to your comments here.
All right, Razorburn, settle the debate. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
Yes.
No.
It's what?
It's not. It's a movie that takes place during Christmas.
What? Yes, and it's a movie you can watch at Christmas. I consider Christmas movies a movie I will watch during the holidays. It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas Story, Elf, go on and on. All the Rankin Bass Christmas stuff, and movies that take place during Christmas. And the schmaltzy Christmas movies tend to blend together. There's a sameness. I want action and Christmas. It's like the salted caramel of entertainment.
Okay, so the list of movies you just gave off in that rant are all Christmas movies because it's about Christmas. The only one in that list was Die Hard that didn't talk about Christmas. Look, it's a movie I have to watch during Christmas. No, I can watch Die Hard any damn time of the year. It doesn't matter, and it still has the same impact. To me, it has to exemplify themes of Christmas, of family, of giving, of Jesus' birth, things like that. Die Hard is not that movie. Die Hard has boobies in it, which I don't exactly bring. I don't exactly equate with Christmas movies.
Yeah. Well, let's go to more comments. Sorry, Razorburn, you got the answer. There's disagreement.
Spidey Sensei 17, and yet we can get along. For 5, that was Amber Lynn in that Friday the 13th movie clip. She and Nina Hartley are still working in the industry at 60 plus years old. It's really sad.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Glad you recognize Amber Lynn. Thank you.
Ron Henriquez. Ariana is a theater kid. Yep. She paid her dues long before she became a pop star. The role has been her dream, and she auditioned like everyone. Chenoweth has been a mentor to her since she was very young.
That's great.
Yeah. Scott Anuziata. Give that girl a cheeseburger.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Couple more news stories before we get to our
reviews.
I don't know anything about this news story. Should we do the 007?
Sure. Let me grab it here.
Okay. While you're doing that,
is the gays.
I don't get that one. I don't understand.
I'm starting to not get it.
What is the point of that? All right. Alan,
I'll turn this
Gemma
off.
Arterton comments on a female 007. This is interesting. Former Bond girl Gemma Arterton. Yeah, I'm saying it wrong. Says female 007 would be too outrageous, something you just have to respect tradition. She was a former Bond girl, performed with Daniel Craig, and this came up because I think we need to stop with the gender swaps. Let's just go with tradition, and maybe stop with the race swaps too, because there's never a good reaction. And while I think the race swaps, I just think hire the best actor, but with leaning towards going with how the character was intended. For Bond, I think you need a man with a British accent. If he ends up being not white, well, try that for a movie or two. But what did she have to say? If you would dig into this article, what's it from?
This is from Variety.
Okay, go for it, Alan.
All right. Quantum of Solace star Gemma Arterton has weighed in on the prospect of a female James Bond. suggesting that such a change might not align with the franchise tradition. Isn't a female James Bond like Mary Poppins being played by a man? The actor told The Times. They talk about it, but I think people would find it too outrageous. Sometimes you just have to respect their tradition. Arterton, who played Strawberry Fields in the 2008 Bond film alongside Daniel Craig, also expressed puzzlement at how the role has followed a career. I don't regret doing a Bond film, but I am prepared why it followed me around, and I was only in the film for 5 minutes.
Well, being a Bond girl is kind of a thing, right? These are the women who have been Bond girls, and a lot of them have gone on to have big careers. It's kind of a debut thing. They're first being noticed in a big role, so there's something to that. There's a whole tradition of sexy Bond girls. Goldfinger was kind of my first when I first saw that and was shocked. The woman painted completely gold on the bed, dead. As a statement. So I love that. I think this is a very based comment. Like, let's go with tradition. I think if you're going to do a female Bond girl, just do like 006 or 009 or 0069, as Alan likes to put it. 00. Yeah, you'd probably say that, but good. I feel like what's interesting is she felt safe enough to make that comment.
69.
See? Your thoughts, Alan?
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly been talking about this a lot. This comes up often, and I think what this is again, it's just this moment of refreshment where someone is saying what we're thinking and being bold enough to say it. And I appreciate the comment. The reality is that there are a lot of stories out there, and yet Hollywood just seems to not only regurgitate the same stories over and over again. Now you're gender swapping, you're race swapping to bring some quote unquote freshness to it, and it just shows how much Hollywood is out of touch with its audience. We want a James Bond movie. We want a traditional James Bond movie. Full stop. Period. We don't need to change it. We don't need to improve it for modern audiences, because modern audiences want the original. The one thing that I've been missing is those big muscle bound men movies, like the Stallone films, the Schwarzenegger films. You blew me up too late. I've already said the comment, but because the male action figure now is Timothée Chalamet. The guys who kind of work out at the gym. The guys, Ryan Gosling, Ryan Reynolds, those are our action heroes now, compared to Stallone and Schwarzenegger. I just kind of miss that era, and I feel like we're again regressing and not progressing.
All right, let's go to your comments.
Beerus Rex, Gremlins is also more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard, and just as much a non-traditional Christmas movie, but it also gets relatively ignored. That's another thing, is if you remove Christmas from the movie and it's still the same movie, it's not a Christmas movie. Gremlins is a Christmas movie because of the way Phoebe Cates' father died in the movie. Caveat ties, just make a good Tomb Raider movie if you want representation. Oh, whammon representation. Day Trippers for 50. Bond has to not only be British but also white. Somebody like Idris Elba can't go unnoticed in Russia. Let's be real.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about that. You're right.
Thomas Pickett for 2. Dan Stevens as 007.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. That actually kind of works.
Yeah. Sons and Shadows. Craig sucked as Bond. I think it's different. Carlos Alfredo Lopez is Daniel Craig the gayest Bond we've ever had? Yes.
Yeah. Well, if you see that movie Queer, there you go.
And Glass Onion and Knives Out.
Yeah. All right. Guess what? The Sundance Film Festival 2025 has announced their program. And here's the question. Is Sundance even relevant anymore? I have the list of movies. Alan, I want you to go over it. This is now, we have an ongoing discussion, Alan and I, about Sundance, because Film Threat in the past, since I think 96, since actually the early 90s, we have had some journalists go. I've been attending Sundance since 96. The last few years, I have not attended. I am not as sure that, and Justine Bateman addressed this, I'm not sure it's as relevant as it used to be. That the films, the roster of films, are less about the quality of the films and more about checking the box of identity. This is a great movie because it was shot by a female filmmaker who's queer, who's in a wheelchair or whatever. Like that kind of, that ups you up, that certainly makes you more noticeable to the programmers. It seems. So, and you can speak to this better than I, Alan, the quality of the films has dropped. Before we get into the program and look at the actual movies playing Sundance, what are your general thoughts on this topic?
My general topics, Sundance. Yeah, because there were two occasions where we were planning on going to Sundance and we pulled out, and it was the right decision because we weren't going to get the feedback, the buzz, the clicks, the interactions that we would have gotten because it's just the return on investment just wasn't there. And a lot of it had to do with these things. The one time I went to Sundance, and this was literally 2 months before COVID, my experience was that the people were there because the big studios were there. And, I took over the tickets for someone who had just basically gotten all the screenings to the big studio stuff. And the issue that I ran into was that this is January, the beginning of the year, right after the awards rush, and you're not getting the best of the best here. The studios are getting stuff that they want seen, but aren't going to get nominated down the road because no one's going to talk about these films that come out in January, in fall, and so. I think what happened after the pandemic, the studios got wise and decided, well, we're not going to put that much money and effort into Sundance anymore. And so what happens is at Sundance now, the studios, the press, the mainstream press will show up the first weekend and then leave. And so that leaves a full week of Sundance where it's indie films and no one's there. And they're just not getting the coverage. We had one person there, and I can tell you publicists were begging her to interview their clients.
Really?
Yeah. Hey, do you want to talk to this person? You want to talk to that person? And then, we'll talk about it in just a moment. But yeah, the choices of films feel more activist driven than it is from a true dramatic filmmaking standpoint, which I believe is what Sundance was created in the first place.
Right. Well, let's look at this program. You have different programs: the U.S. Dramatic Competition, Documentary Competition, World Cinema Dramatic Competition. They don't call it foreign films because that's othering. They call it World Cinema. So World Cinema Documentary Competition, Next, Premieres, Midnight. These are the movies I tend to like the most. I saw the Blair Witch Project was part of the Midnight program at the Egyptian Theater, and Episodic are TV shows. Is that Paul Rubens right here in Episodic? It looks like Paul Rubens, probably in an unreleased TV show or
let me look
project here. I'm going through the ones that interest me are the Midnight movies. Let's look at these. We've got everything from Dead Lover, Didn't We? Opus, Rabbit Trap with Dev Patel, Together, The Ugly Stepsister, Touch Me. Okay, so there you go. Those are the midnight. I don't know. The problem I have also is that some of these movies are just going to be on HBO Max the next week. So they use the festival as a way to promote that the movie's coming out. They get a lot of press and then, it's on HBO Max. Well, why did I come to Sundance to see it? So it sucks the air out of the smaller indie movies. I do think pound for pound, or when it comes to comparison, Slamdance has the better movies, the smaller indie movies, the new voices, but even they have got caught up in identity and all the, we're going to program this because it's a woman of color, queer filmmaker. Well, man, if you're a woman of color, queer filmmaker, you are beating the generic white guy, straight filmmaker every day of the week. I'm just the way it is.
You don't even have to make a good film. You'll get considered.
You don't have to make a good film. I that's the truth. Even Justine was pointing this out. When it comes to Sundance, though, I gravitated towards the docs because the narrative films, you never knew if it was going to be any good. A lot of them are just kind of cheesy. A lot of like rich white people complaining, which I saw so many movies like that. I'm like, this is and I always noticed when I would interview the filmmakers, ask, well, how you raise the money? I didn't realize most of these people are trust fund kids, and that's how they got the money. So nothing pops out at me. The docs interest me the most, but I do think that when it comes to distribution, which is why you're at Sundance to get distribution, you don't need Sundance anymore to get a distributor. You can go directly to distributors. It can help elevate the value of the movie, but even that is not what it used to be. So we will cover Sundance. We're covering it, right, Alan?
Yeah, as much as we can do remotely.
Yeah, but we're covering it remotely because it's just Sundance is not what it used to be.
And is this the last year at Park City?
No, it's 2027. They are moving from Park City, Utah to some other city. Might be LA, might be Atlanta. They've narrowed down the list. They've had cities pitch to them do Sundance.
Yeah.
Once it leaves Park City, I think the charm is kind of gone.
Yeah, it's like Comic-Con leaving San Diego.
Yeah, it needs to be in a small city. Maybe like, I don't know, Tulsa or somewhere in Oklahoma or just something like that, somewhere kind of folksy and fun, not a big city like LA where it'll get lost. All right, let's go to your comments on this and we'll get to reviews.
All right, Craig Wilson for 10. Are you guys going to finish Dune Prophecy? It's strange how a show can be both boring and fascinating. I didn't like episode 4. I didn't think they would get into ominous and the face dancers this early on.
Craig says he did like, I'm not going to finish it. We will have Nerd Cookies on Versus. She is finishing it. She is currently on vacation, but she will be talking about it, and I do recommend her channel.
And I'm interested in face dancers. I don't know what that is, but sounds fun. Johnny Skinwalker, Chris jumped from one topic to another at the speed of Flash. I wanted that James Bond conversation, bro.
Well, that's maybe a good conversation. We'll bring it back up for Versus.
Yeah. Let's see. And then Skiz Feedback, Esquire, gifted 5 Film Threat memberships.
Thank you, Skiz.
Yeah. Join us on Discord. Chris will show up one day. Will Yum for 5. If it comes to the East Coast, I'll gladly go as a proxy for Film Threat.
Well, we do have other writers on the East Coast, so they would get priority. But yeah, that's possible. William, hit us up. Thank you.
Ololi Ukui, the one-legged ginger Hungarian lesbian market is sadly underserved.
And that's a real problem.
Yeah. Jim T, is it time for a Sundance funeral?
It's just not as exciting as it used to be.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list here, and I don't see a lot of big studio films this year.
Well, that's maybe a good thing.
Yeah. Pilgrim Media for 2. How much will Disney lose on new Captain America? Everything.
A lot. Probably it's gonna go at a loss, especially when they're bringing back Chris Evans. Like you announced that before your new Captain America movie.
No, I think Chris Evans is supposed to be in Doomsday.
Yes,
I think that was the announcement.
I think he has a cameo in the movie.
Okay, old Cap maybe. Scott Chrissy Jones, member for 9 months. 28 years later, what was your favorite zombie film?
The original Night of the Living Dead. I've seen that movie countless times, watch it every year. As a kid, I owned a copy of that movie, the entire movie, on Super 8 and would host screenings in my backyard. So the original Dawn of the Dead also. I mean, you could rank zombie movies, but those are among my favorites. And I do like the sort of, I like Walking Dead, or at least the first few seasons. I dropped off pretty quick, but 28 years later looks amazing. We're not going to do a reaction because we'll get copyright, but yeah.
No, but I'm looking forward to 28 years later. In fact, I'm going to watch the originals. As we say, I'm not much into horror films. But I am interested in, I think I will go through the 28 zombie films before it comes out.
Yeah.
I'll catch all that, basically.
All right. We have to pivot because we have movies to review. Before we get to Kraven, Alan has seen a documentary that he told me about last night. I was blown away by your description of this movie, Alan. Obviously we all lived through the COVID crisis. What do we call it? Pandemic. Everyone says, the pandemic. And we learned a lot. We learned a lot about how much government likes to exert its control. We learned COVID may be real, but maybe our reaction was not the best. There is now a documentary that's out. I said, Alan, you have to talk about this. Tell me about COVID Collateral.
Yeah, so COVID Collateral. So there are certainly those people who are conspiracy theorists about COVID, that maybe we overreacted to the COVID crisis. Maybe lockdowns wasn't the right thing to do. Maybe putting people on intubators was the wrong thing to do, and maybe killing them and making things worse. Maybe the vaccine, maybe ivermectin was the cure and not vaccines. Maybe there was a cover-up over the work being done at the Wuhan coronavirus laboratory. This movie basically pulls all of those conspiracy theories and presents what people were thinking about while COVID was happening. And I will say this, I think if you are going to be truly honest, and if you truly want to understand what happened, and whether you believe it or not, it's important to get the other side. And this is the other side. This movie is about, 70 minutes, and it's packed with information. Just starts off with the fact that, we've had pandemics in the past and we somehow survived those. How is it that we weren't going to survive COVID? And then it goes on to discuss, did lockdowns really help? Did lockdowns work? Then they bring up certain facts that they pulled out. For example, if you went in the early days of it, if you got COVID, they put you on an intubator. And 90% of those people who got put on intubators died. Then, so it goes through the science of it all. Then it goes into our responses to it, the censorship that was occurring, the doctors, scientists who began questioning what the public was being told about the science behind COVID, that they were not only being fired from their jobs, but then they were being banned off of social media and YouTube, so that they were silenced. And then it ends with the Tony Fauci and his work. The U.S. was putting money into this Wuhan lab to study gain of function research for the coronavirus, and that maybe Anthony Fauci has some explaining to do. Let's put it this way. And the funniest thing, the thing that was pointed out to me in this video that I hadn't really thought about until then, was to say that COVID came out of the Wuhan lab was racist, but to say that COVID came out of a diseased bat from a Chinese wet market, that wasn't racist. So this is, I don't think I think it's pretty clear my feelings on this, what you think my feelings are about this. Because I've certainly had conversations with friends who, labeled me, vaccine denier and things like that. And all it was me asking questions. Mm-hmm. During the pandemic, I was looking at the numbers almost every day. And the thing that struck me was that the majority of COVID deaths took place in 2 locations, Los Angeles and New York City. And everywhere else, it was, it was like you just felt like you could do it. And then the reality is, I don't think I personally know anybody who died of COVID. Maybe a friend of a friend, but I'm just saying, I think it's safe to say that we may have overblown this. And this documentary just kind of goes through it. And if you are one who believes everything the media had told you and everything the government had told you, I would just say watch this, because you do need to get another side to either bolster your opinion and say, I saw this, I didn't buy into its facts, and now my opinion is stronger. Or maybe what we need to do is come to the truth behind what happened with COVID. And the only way you can get to the truth is to question the facts that we were being given. And there you go. That's my political diatribe.
And that's what any good documentary should do. Ask questions, let the viewer decide. But I'll say this: if you are pardoning, like with Fauci, pre-pardoning someone, I feel like the pre-pardon is almost like you might be guilty of something if you're being pre-pardoned. Like, is that? I think it implies guilt. The person is guilty of something. All I'll say is this: look, I was a good American. I wore my mask. I thought, I'll just do what they say, but whatever. I think it's overreaction. I never got COVID, even though I was around people who got it. Yes, they were sick, and it was nasty. I never got it myself. Even I tested myself. I asked questions. At the beginning, I'm like, okay, just going to follow what the rules are. I think maybe we're overreacting. But wow, by the end of that, the fact that California, hung on to those authoritarian rules so long were horrible. And things like the Pineapple Hill Saloon, which is the bar that was shut down, could not work. People didn't work. And then a Hollywood production directly next to it got to open up and do their business. It's BS. I call BS. Lots of things open my eyes to the BS of this. We need this doc, and we need people. We need us to look back and really question things. Safe and effective for Google algorithm there.
Yes, we're only commenting on what the document.
We're commenting on the doc. But yeah, this was. I don't ever want to go through that again. And I think that if there's another one and they try to push this, there is going to be huge pushback. I don't agree with the mandate that you had to get the jab. Don't agree. I think it's a personal choice. And there are a lot of people in my family that were split. My sister has 4 daughters. They were not real into getting it now. So I'm just saying is I think you make your own choice, but I I feel like the public trust in government and health officials is dramatically down, and they are to blame. They blame everything but themselves. So I'm glad this doc is out.
Yeah, the thing that COVID did that I think was the biggest crime was it now made us question science.
Yeah.
And there's another thing, this whole ivermectin thing. How the media, ivermectin won the Nobel Prize for medicine. It is one of the safest drugs. It was found to be an effective way to deal with the symptoms of COVID. And what the conclusion that the documentary made, not my conclusion, but we're reporting what this documentary had said, was that they had to demonize ivermectin. Otherwise, the vaccine program would have been useless. And it just seemed like this was a way to prop up pharma companies, according to the documentary, and not our personal opinions.
Well, I plan to watch this. Where can I see it, Alan?
I'm pretty sure it's VOD.
Great.
Yeah.
Just go to Just Watch on the app and look it up.
Yeah.
Let's go to your comments here.
Yeah, let me hold on. I'm sorry, I'm moving things around. It is available on multiple streams. Go to covidcollateral.com. Okay. AD Ellis, these sound like more conspiracy truths.
Well, there you go.
Oh, interesting, huh? ADL also says people who believed in 2 weeks to flatten the curve are more gullible than children who believe in Santa. Yeah, I think we talked about it last night, where COVID seemed to be a test as to how much the government can control people. Oh, it's just 2 weeks. Oh, it'll be another month. Oh, hey, second lockdowns. Red French Moon. The famous line, "Don't do your own research."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, Razorburn, question authority, 100%. Benjamin, 2020 was hell. Yeah. AD Ellis, the Hong Kong flu in 1968 was far more deadly, and no one knows about it.
Yeah.
Well, because they kept it on the island. That's why.
All right, you've been waiting for Kraven the Hunter. It's time we get to it. We've got a few more, and we do have an interview today with Daytime Revolution director Erik Nelson. The end of the show, we will talk to him and hopefully get to all these movies. We have a lot of movies to review. Alan, Kraven.
Yeah. Kraven. Sorry, you can get on Vimeo. Okay, there we go. Kraven. Sexy.
All right, it's time we talk about Kraven the Hunter. This is, oh my gosh, there's all the Sony Spider-Man movies that don't feature Spider-Man. There was Venom 1, 2, and 3, Morbius of all things.
1 and 2. Oh, yeah, 1.
Yeah. Just these movies, Madam Web, there was Madam Web. We're taking all the characters around Spider-Man, and I think all of them have a similar flaw. Spider-Man isn't in the movie, not even mentioned, although there is I was sort of veiled reference in Kraven the Hunter. But Alan, tell me about Kraven the Hunter.
Yes, Kraven is okay. So here we go. Kraven and his brother are the sons of the Russell Crowe character, Russian mob boss, and during a hunting accident, young Kraven is wounded, and a young let's call her voodoo person from Africa, she has a vial of health serum, brings him back to life, and the boy becomes Kraven. But because of the harsh rule and fist of his father, they become estranged. And I'm explaining this horribly. You want to take over for me?
Alan, this is what you do for a living.
Not explain plots.
You were so good in our Out of the Theater review.
You know what it is? It's like I get comments all the time of how horrible I am.
You need to work on that. That would be good. I need to work on saying.
I'm just saying. I don't want to ruin the algorithm.
We all have our flaws. Look, it's a very simple story of two brothers have a Russian mob boss who made his
Father.
fortune with drugs. He's a hunter. He's trying to make his boys into manly men, the two brothers. And on a safari, one of them like hesitates for a moment, and young Kraven, is attacked by a lion. He's almost mauled to death. He's carried off by the lion. His body is found, and a vial of magic potion from a young woman named Calypso drops into his blood, and he somehow is imbued with powers he's learning to understand. He has a fallout with his father and runs away, goes on like a cruise ship back to Mother Russia, where he goes to a forest, this serene forest that he used to go to with his mother. He sees a carved on the side of a tree, his brother's name and his name, Kravenoff. And he learns and discovers these powers. What he witnesses is a bunch of poachers killing animals for simply their horns. They leave their bodies in a field, and this enraged, he takes them out. He becomes like a John Wick-like assassin for hunters who abuse animals, and discovers a whole ring of people doing this and seeks them out. I don't want to get into too much of the story, but the second half, so he's learning his powers. The second half of the movie, his brother is abducted by some of the people that are involved in this, including someone who turns out to be the Rhino, which he looks like an accountant
with a
and
backpack.
He uses a backpack filled with serum to keep himself from turning into a rhino. Now, this is the gist of the story, and Kraven is. I mean, I will say there are a couple fun action sequences, bad CG, but he jumps around. When his brother is abducted, he chases this truck with guys with machine guns trying to get his brother back. It's kind of a thrilling, fun scene, and there may be 2 or 3 scenes like that of action. I'll just say this: this is the dumbest movie this year. This is the dumbest dialogue, to the point where, and to be fair, we saw this at a screening. Myself, you, Alan were there, Paul Chato, script doctor, Dante, Derek Anderson, Dante Verbal Riot. We were laughing our asses off, but it's not so dumb like Madam Web, where it's so stupid you're laughing. It's actually dumb. Like, it felt like the script was written with AI, where it's like, I'm a hunter, I hunt. It was like a first draft of a script written by AI. And look, Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven, he's okay. It's more of a physical performance on that level. He's very good. He's actually good on that. Fred Heikinger plays Dimitri, his brother. Ariana DeBose plays Calypso, and she's. These are characters they kind of plucked from Marvel. I'll just say this: the dialogue, it ruins this. It's so flat. There's no life to this. It's like written by people who don't know how humans actually interact, directed by someone who doesn't understand the language. Who directed this? I don't know.
Yeah, who cares?
J.C. Chandor, okay, who has done movies I don't recognize: Triple Frontier, A Most Violent Year, All Is Lost, Margin Call, Viper Club. Look, this, and also this puts the nail in the coffin of all these Sony spin-off Spider-Man films. They all suck, and this one may suck the worst. But it's maybe the second most fun, which is weird to say, because Madam Web, in spite of it being bad, was fun. We were laughing. It's so bad and flat and boring. There are a few action sequences that worked. Like, all right, that works. The CG was cheap and bad. But wow, did we need I never in my wildest dreams when I had the Aurora model kit of Spider-Man with Kraven the Hunter. I'll show you a picture. It was god awful. So I don't know. It's a 2 or a 3 out of 10 for me. Alan, what did you think of Kraven the Hunter?
What I think? I mean, the question I asked after the credits ended and we didn't get a post-credit scene.
No post-credit scene, folks.
No post-credit. But the question I asked everyone was, is this movie so bad it's good? And I think the consensus was it's pretty damn close. And again, it all surrounded around dialogue. The dialogue, I mean, before I thought it might have been written by AI, I was thinking to myself, maybe this is, it was written by Tommy Wiseau. Just how bad. Right. Yeah, because there are 3 significant scenes where 2 people are in a room and all they're doing is giving us exposition.
Right.
And the dialogue in this exposition, the way it was described by one of our friends was it was hollow. You know,
yeah.
They say profound things, but there's no weight behind these profound thoughts. I'll give you an example. Like during this long conversation between Kraven and Calypso, Calypso has moved to Africa from Africa to London, took on an American accent and became a British lawyer. There's one point where it's like she says to Kraven, "I know who your father is," being, you know, the drug king, and then she is collected, and then she is connected to the London Underground, and then he says, "Well, I know who your friends are," you know, and so it's meant to be profound, but it just felt like they threw it in there because it sounded like there's some weight behind it. Calypso in the beginning of the movie pulls up a crossbow, never fires it, but in the end she uses the crossbow to save Kraven's life.
And there's a dumb line. Let me repeat the line.
Yeah.
She says, "Yeah, she has the arrow. It's like summer camp." It's
no. Hold on, no. It's not just that. No. Let me finish it.
Please.
No. So she kills him. She has a crossbow. Kraven says summer camp, and then she says, "We all have our secrets."
Right. It's so dumb. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and look, we were laughing, we were cringing. Kraven is able to climb walls.
Right.
He has super strength.
Right.
You know, he you know, you might as well give him web shooters at this point. You know, and ironically, he's afraid of spiders. Yeah, this is just okay. So when we talked about Venom, when we compared it to Venom, this is what I said. I don't remember Venom, but I remember Kraven the Hunter. That's why I think this movie is so bad it's good, because it is so profoundly awful. You are going to remember these awful things that you've witnessed.
And we never got this. By the way, I'm showing from eBay. This is the Aurora model kit I had as a kid. It's a Spider-Man model kit with Spider-Man shooting his web over Kraven.
Mm-hmm.
I had that when I was a kid. We're never going to get that. Why aren't we getting that? It's ridiculous.
Well,
so I had that kit. It was amazing. Mm-hmm. All right, back to Kraven here.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna throw it in the so bad it's a good category. I think.
Oh really?
If you want to MST3K a movie, this is the movie to do it. Grab your friends, go to an empty theater, which there are plenty of. And
it'll be
watch
empty.
this movie together. We were talking throughout the entire movie, and the people in our theater were not complaining.
No one's trying. Yeah, we were, which is really verboten. You can't. You don't talk during a movie. They even have messages about that, but no one cared. No one cared. We burst out laughing at lines. We were, commenting on stuff like a rhino. The rhino guy. That alone was so dumb. He looked like this weird accountant with these glasses. He had this backpack that was always on him.
What's funny is when he first appears, he looks like a Mormon missionary, and he's got this backpack on, and I'm like, oh, the Mormons have adopted the Dora the Explorer model here. And I said the backpack should have at least had a Spider-Man. It should have been a Spider-Man backpack.
It was bad. It was, dude. It was really, colossally bad. It's bombing at the bottom. Check out what the Rotten Tomatoes score is. I believe it was 13% critic score. We'll see what the audience score. I expect to be a little higher because it's dumb.
It made $2 million over last night.
Yeah, and we were like $50 of that.
I know.
So
that was 9 of us. 9 of us.
Yeah, all 9 of us. All 9 of us. So yeah, cannot recommend this film. Maybe catch it on streaming. The minor spoiler, but it's in the trailer. He does fight Rhino at some point. That might be the best thing in the movie. But you're laughing. There's no drama. You're laughing. There's a whole turn and a reveal with his brother. So there's all these minor Marvel character cameos, but they're not in a form you would recognize.
Yeah.
Like Calypso and Rhino and a couple others I won't ruin.
There's 2 villains that are based on Marvel characters, which I couldn't think of.
Yeah.
Part of me was
they're nowhere near their counterparts. Wow, what a disappointment. And so, Alan, you recommend it only for the chuckles?
Yeah.
What's your number rating?
What's my number? I'll give it a 4. So I like it twice.
I'll give it a 2. It's bad. I will never see this movie again. I still like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I think, but wow, that script is so bad. It felt like AI. It really, really did.
Yeah, the only reason I see it again is if I get a bunch of friends and we wanted to just be a little mischievous, I'd say, hey, let's go see Kraven.
All right, let's go to your comments.
All right, Script Doctor. Hey, Kraven was an event. Alan was the best Lyft driver in California. 5 stars for Alan. Yeah. I drove Paul and
thanks, Script. Great to meet you.
Thomas Pickett for 5. Maybe that was where aliens. Maybe that is where the aliens are hiding as scriptwriters.
Yeah.
DeBeast 808 gifted 5 Film Thread memberships. DeBeast also says for 2, I appreciate how you break down movies, Alan. No, I don't. I don't appreciate how I do it at all.
The thing is, I talk to Alan in real life.
Mm-hmm.
He's great. He's great. The Out of the Theater review of Kraven, please watch it. It's 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Alan's great. Someone even commented, you're so relaxed and chill, with those videos. Like you should be like that on the show.
Yeah. That's the other thing. Describing the plot of this tells you how bad it was. It was all of it.
Yes. Yeah. Anyways, I'm saying, Alan, you're great. Maybe it's a confidence thing.
No, I think it's because I saw it last night and I really
you forgot
when I sat down, I was writing my notes about how I felt, but I wasn't really. I should be thinking about how am I going to explain this damn plot.
You said
this damn plot.
Keep going.
JBTRX for 10. Lib News saying stay in your homes and stop the spread or be arrested, but okay to protest in large crowds and burn down cities and you won't get COVID. Garbage. Yeah. I thought the exact same thing when it was happening.
Yep. Same.
Bill Buttlicker for I believe that's 100 rupees or something like that. The name Kraven the Hunter is as silly as Bill the Buttlicker. Ciphers for 2. Morbius, Madam Web, or Kraven for worst movie.
I'd say Kraven is the worst of all of them. Morbius was dumb fun. And Madam Web was probably the most dumb fun.
Mm-hmm.
Most dumb fun. But Kraven is the worst of all these Sony movies.
I know. That's like asking. That's like asking which is your worst child.
Yeah.
G-Man for 5. I've already watched Alan's Out of the Theater review about a dozen times, but I'll watch it a dozen more with all my family over Christmas vacation. Yeah, please play those ads through when you do. DeBeast 808, member for 12 months. Aloha and blessings, gentlemen. Always enjoy these review streams. Many blessings on you both. Hail the Fellowship, the 199, Frank Gore, and Ing the Merciless.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Lord Comment for 2, detergents that leave a better film than this.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bill F. Preston Esquire. The lion was just defending his home. What was Kraven doing in that neighborhood anyways? Exactly. Razor and Kraven versus Predator. Now that's a movie. Oh boy, that would be a great movie. Mike MC Wong. On my way to see Kraven right now. Very excited to see how bad it is. Yep.
We'll see.
Casparius for 5. I think pardon should be only valid if Prez specifies the actual crime that they are being pardoned for, rather than a blanket statement. Biden lists the crimes.
I feel like if you're pardoning someone, they did commit a crime. You don't pardon someone for nothing. Yeah. It's so obvious. Can we get back to common sense? Justine Bateman, who is my spirit animal, has inspired, I think, a lot of people. Just can we get back to common sense and stop with the crazy?
Although this is how we can get our American 007s. You just take an assassin and pardon them into the future, saying any killings they do, they'll get pardoned for. Bill S. Preston Esquire. The lion was just defending his home. What was? Oh yeah, we got this one. Brian Smith for 10 Canadian. The stench of a Sony movie might affect the crossover, but could Sony let Marvel use some of these villains for the Sinister Six?
They just should have made a Sinister Six movie. Just make that movie. Spider-Man versus the Sinister Six. It would be the Avengers Endgame of Sony movies. Make it. Make it.
But then they would have to hire an actual writer and a director to produce it for it to be any good. Otherwise, you're wasting, again, these great villains.
Yeah. I just don't know why. If they had the rights to all of them, you don't introduce each character. These characters aren't big enough. Maybe Venom is, but these characters are not big enough for their own movies. Quite honestly, make a movie with all of them. And if one pops, like, oh, Morbius, he's really popular. Spin off, do a Morbius movie after you've done the team up movie.
Solomon Thorne, Kraven Last Hunt is an awesome comic, but it worked because Spider-Man was in it.
None of these movies work because Spider-Man isn't in them. We had 3 Venom movies with no Spider-Man. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, all right, we're going to, one more here.
Okay. Giggity. Biden has pardoned Allen for his terrible plot breakdowns. Thank you, President Biden.
Well, it's something I'll keep putting you in the spotlight, Alan. So you need the reps to get good at it. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you know what we're going to do right now? We have our special guest here. We're going to do an interview with him, and then we'll get back to, we have to talk about the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim, the Daft Punk anime that I saw last night. So we're going to get to those reviews. But right now, we're going to do a quick interview with Erik Nelson. Erik Nelson coming on the show to tell us about his documentary, Daytime Revolution. Hey, Erik. Thank you for joining us on the show. Happy to have you here. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly. Wow. You have a lot of books.
Too many to be.
May I compliment you on that? John Waters once said, he said, if you go to a bar, you pick someone up, you take them home, and you don't see any books, don't fuck them.
Well,
it shows your character.
Are you asking me out on a date? I'm a little confused.
No,
here.
I'm just saying I'm impressed because books are important. You need to have a lot of books. It shows you're well-read, well-rounded person. I love that.
Well, yeah, I love that you have a bookshelf in front of your bookshelf.
Yeah, well, that's actually, if you really want to geek out, it is a library cart. I have so many books that I bought a library cart, and as many books as on the outside. If you roll it around, there's as many books on the inside.
Oh, I love it. Double stacking is great. I love the smell of books. I can remember the smells of certain books I read during summers as a kid. It's the visceral experience where you're so involved, the whole world goes away. Anyways, sorry.
Judging from the conversation I just overheard, I would think you were more of a comic book guy, but I'm glad to see that.
Comic books also printed on paper.
There you
go.
No, comic books do not work on Kindle, I have to admit.
I all of that, I do not like it at all. You are a documentary filmmaker. You made this. Tell us about Daytime Revolution, and I want to show the trailer so people get a taste of it. Tell us about your movie.
Well, Daytime Revolution documents a week in 1972 when John Lennon and Yoko Ono hijacked the Mike Douglas show. They made a deal with the producers of the Mike Douglas show to get, with complete creative freedom, to run the show for a week. And they put on all the guests they wanted, and they used that incredibly popular venue to speak to the silent majority of America. And they did such a good job of doing so that Richard Nixon went on a jihad to deport John Lennon. It took 3 long years of John's life as Nixon tried to get him out of the country. So quite the historical, cultural event.
And this was when talk shows were not so micromanaged or overproduced, or now it's almost like when you see talk shows now, it's almost an irrelevant medium. Like when you watch Kimmel and then whatnot, it's so overproduced. Like the responses, I know because I've been involved in TV, they will pre-produce, the whole conversation is fake. It's almost scripted.
The idea of a talk show, that kind of a talk show, a daytime talk show that would go on for 90 minutes doesn't exist in the culture anymore. But what does exist in the culture is podcasts. And say Joe Rogan show, which reaches massive amounts of people, goes on for 90 minutes to 3 hours. That format, still would work. But this would be the equivalent of, let's say, if Taylor Swift was a radical, taking over the Joe Rogan show for a week and programming every far right, far left liberal she possibly could, with Joe Rogan nodding and being very appreciative and saying, "Sure, take over my show. I don't care." That's about the only analog you could make for what this was.
Yeah, those old shows, I remember, this is when we talked to each other, when you had Dick Cavett. I mean, in-depth conversations.
Carson would bring on Truman Capote and talk about books. Harlan Ellison, who I did a film on, would join Tom Snyder, and Tom Snyder would let Harlan go for 90 minutes railing about Star Trek. So, there were public intellectuals who spoke to people at the highest common denominator. So I have to say again, though, those venues exist today, but they're not going to be found on, 6 television channels. So lest we get too nostalgic and say it's over and there's no place to go to talk to smart people, there are, but you have to look a little harder for them than a menu of 8 TV channels.
Exactly. So, God, I remember the Tom Snyder show. One of the John Lydon of Public Image Limited was on Tom Snyder. One of the greatest bizarre interviews I've ever seen with a musician. I love it. Like, Tom Snyder was an inspiration. He smoked on camera. He gave no fucks. Tom Snyder was awesome. And that era of talk shows, they were the precursor. That's what podcasts are now, as you're pointing out. Like this, I feel like people crave authenticity. And that's what you did back then.
Well, and they, again, though, things are so fragmented that it's hard to have the same sort of cultural sway. And getting back to the Mike Douglas shows, these reached 40 million people a day, 40 million housewives. So to have someone like John Lennon and Yoko Ono bring on Bobby Seale of the Black Panthers, Jerry Rubin of Jerry Rubin, macrobiotic chefs, Chuck Berry, all of these amazing cultural kind of quantum shifts in the consciousness was extraordinary. And it stood out, and that's why I wanted to make the movie. And I also wanted, you mentioned I'm a documentary filmmaker. Yeah, but in this film, this particular project, I was really in the transportation business. I just wanted to get people from the present day, from this fraught election year, back in time to reconnect up with 1972 and knock ideas back and forth across the 50-year gap. So there was a very conscious political message of this show, of this film, that was entirely intentional. And the fact that it came out in October and is now out on DVD after this traumatic election is not accidental. Let's put it that way.
Let's take a look at the trailer right now. I have it queued up for us. Alan, if you would. Here we go.
I'm 31 now, and I've grown up in many ways, and you have to be more politically aware in a day and age like this. It's almost impossible to close your eyes to it.
It was a time of considerable fracturing.
And you read in the newspapers that the war's over, but the war's not over.
You have to understand where the Mike Douglas show sat in culture.
Here is John Lennon and Yoko Ono.
It was the most popular show in daytime television.
When President Nixon leaves for Peking on Thursday,
Yoko said, we're doing this show on Mike Douglas. We're having Bobby Seale and Jerry Rubin. And I'm like, what?
here is Ralph Nader.
Is he running for president?
No.
John Lennon and Yoko Ono didn't want us to talk about their music. That spoke for itself.
What would you like to talk about this week, John?
Love, peace, communication,
Drugs.
drugs, anything.
When I got to the studio, I got a glimpse of John Lennon and Yoko Ono. I said, oh my goodness, this is exciting.
They did have an agenda, and the agenda had to do with making the world better.
Yeah, it was something they were trying to get away with.
Well, young people are known to be cynical, and I say to them, nobody's smart enough to be a pessimist.
Imagine there's no heaven. People tend to think that somebody will save them. And there's only people can save us, only us all deciding to do something about anything, whatever it is. Just even making that decision that I want to do something is a start. Imagine all the people living for today.
Wow. That looks amazing. Let's go. We've got 1,200 people watching us live right now. We have questions for you, Erik, if you wouldn't mind.
Actually, I have one question, but was it a problem getting the rights to Imagine?
No, this is the second film documentary I've done with the Lennon estate and Yoko and Sean. And I knew after the first one that they were, I wouldn't say easy to work with, but they were good partners. So once they gave their blessings at the beginning of this, and as they control so many of the music rights, they made it a lot easier. And we could also afford it on a shoestring documentary budget. So the answer is yes and no. How's that?
Okay.
There you go. All right. Questions from our audience here.
Yeah, ADLs. What are Erik's thoughts on the upcoming 4 biopics from Sam Mendes about each member of the Beatles?
No thoughts. I mean, it's certainly an A-list project. It's going to be tough to top Nowhere Man, the film about John Lennon, young John Lennon, which I thought was terrific. And I'm not a huge fan of that genre in particular. I'm a fanatic Dylan fan, and I really have zero interest in seeing A Complete Unknown because I've already made the movie of what Bob Dylan was like then in my head a few times. So anything that they do isn't going to be as good as the movie I have in my head. But, you know, all power to the Beatles.
There you go.
All right, Darth Yeager. So if Nixon has succeeded in deporting Lenin, he might still be alive.
Absolutely right. It set Lenin on a trajectory where he was in the United States. He was living at the Dakota. That's not to say some nutter in the UK something. Remember, George Harrison was almost stabbed to death at Friars Park in his home.
Yeah.
So it isn't that there weren't insane people in the UK. And John was very much a man of the people. He liked to walk in the streets and make himself visible. But sure, there's a parallel history where everything had to line up the way it did.
ADLS, did the idea of them taking over the TV show grow out of their bed-in protest from 1969, where their activism became a primary part of their celebrity?
Absolutely. That, 69, 70, 71, when they moved to the United States, that's when they latched on to Jerry Rubin, and Jerry Rubin latched on to them, and they were heavily political. And these shows were the perfect platform for that. And what's great about these shows are Lennon never looked better. I think the only other John Lennon on film that's as good as this is Hard Day's Night. He looked great. He was totally in it, smart, funny, musical, everything you want from John Lennon. Just happened to be that period of January and February when they taped these shows. And then a year later was The Lost Weekend, where he kind of fell apart and moved to the infamous tampon on his head incident at the Troubadour, where he kind of fell apart for a year and then became a recluse from 75 on. So this particular window into John Lennon captured him, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to make the movie.
All right, Red French Moon. My question to Eric Nelson: could it be, despite being from the left back then, but these rebels, that Lennon would actually be MAGA now, which is counterculture with Rogan and other to the mainstream?
I think that on one hand is absolutely not, but on the other hand, if Jerry Rubin on the Mike Douglas show had said, the president in 2024 is going to disband the FBI and turn the J. Edgar Hoover building into a museum of the deep state. We're going to put a woman to run the CIA and she's going to dismantle it. And, some of the things that are being put forth from the new administration, that Rubin would have given a big thumbs up. These are very, very radical ideas that are being expressed. But I don't think Lennon would have been in favor of deportation, certainly, in his own life, and so many other of I'm sure he wouldn't have been a big fan of open carry guns for obvious reasons. So the answer, as I said, weirdly yes, but definitely no.
All right, ADLs. At the time was Yoko treated by American audience? How was Yoko treated by American audience compared to those in the UK?
Equally badly, both sides. Yoko, it's only been in the last maybe 10 years, I think, that Yoko has started to, if not be acclaimed, has been understood as the powerful artistic figure she really was. And there's a world, if we're going to talk about alternative history, where Lennon is in the UK and doesn't get shot in December of 1980, there's a future where he doesn't meet Yoko, and he ODs on heroin in 1968 before the Beatles record the White Album, which was absolutely a possibility with Lennon. He was going off the rails as a human being, and Yoko really centered him. And we may not have gotten Abbey Road if he hadn't hooked up to Yoko. So Yoko haters might want to kind of put that in their hash pipe and smoke it.
All right.
Yeah, and you can get a hash pipe. Erik, thank you so much for being on the show here to tell us about it. Is the movie? It's out now.
Yeah, this is the plug portion. So we're out on. Can get it on Apple. Just click on Apple, buy it, watch it, rent it, download it, do what you want with it. Amazon and physical media. We love our physical media now, don't we? It's out on Blu-ray and home video. And I saw it in theaters when it came out, and the home video looks better. And I actually re-edited the film after I saw it in theaters. I made some changes to it when I actually saw it with audiences that I said, ooh, I can make this better. So the home video is actually the director's cut, along with some supplements of uncut performances and all sorts of other stuff. And that, of course, is available at the usual suspects.
All right. Erik Nelson, thank you for joining us. You're the I would say the most fuckable documentary filmmaker based on your books.
Oh, well, there you go. I think that's going to go on my resume. That goes right up on my IMDb page.
Yes.
Yeah, do
Put
it.
on the
And
next DVD.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
joining us. And Daytime Revolution is out now on VOD. Get it, watch it. Thank you, Erik, for talking to us. And you have a great sense of humor. I appreciate that.
I do my best.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.
That was great.
Yeah. There was a time where 40 million people watched a television show every day.
Yeah. Yeah. I will be right back while you talk to the chat.
Yeah.
We have a couple more films to review. At least one more film.
Yes. Lord of the Rings. War of the Rohirrim. Just MK Solid Allen wanted the Rhino to break out into a musical number. You know, that would have just been icing on the cake had that happened. Lori, if you could help me out with some comments here. Let me see. I don't want to alarm anyone, but there is a weird creature on his couch. Yeah, I saw that too. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Thanks, Lori. Got that one. Yeah, RPC Musique. Another awesome Film Threat interview. We aim to please. Ryan Landis, awesome interview, fellas. Thank you. Seed, Chris had to go take a Yoko. And yeah, we also got comments of yeah, not everyone here is a fan of John Lennon's politics. Here we go. Giggity. So Alan, how do you really feel about Chris? Chris is great. And here we go. Chris is painting the porcelain. Yes. No, I think we're okay. Here we go. Yeah, if you help me unstar these two. Okay. Clarence Markwell, you flirt with this guy, but not Justine. Exactly. Giggity. Yeah, we got that one. Let's keep going here. Leo Cody, Yoko is 91 today, but if she were younger, we all know she'd have purple hair. Let's see. ADL is 24. I love how my syntax always slips up Alan when he reads my comments. Yes, I love that too. Thank you. Let's see. Let's see. Daniel S. Alan, do you regret voting for Trump yet? No, we're still early. He's not even president yet. Reference Moon wouldn't say I don't dislike all Lenin politics. His peace message was commendable. Yeah, I think to the issue, it was. I think Lenin would be very much in favor of all the skepticism and all this reliance we have on how great the government is and great things they do for us, and the efficient way they spend our money.
I love the comments. I'll just say this. That comment from John Waters, I think, is funny. And I really I don't know. I just want to, the guy has a sense of humor. I'll say this. I follow Sean Lennon on social media. He's very based.
Uh-huh.
Sean Lennon, look him up. He's Gen X. Pretty based guy, pretty common sense guy. So there you go. But I think at the time, Lennon was obviously John Lennon was. I mean, he was they were the rebels, right? Mm-hmm. So there you go. Alan, you're kind of oh, your internet's a little no.
Yeah,
you look better now. It's okay. It was going. You're kind of wonky.
Yeah, it was a late night last night. It was a late night.
You see, you look like you're a 480p.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my internet thing here, and
is someone downloading something at your house?
Yeah, let me check.
Okay, all right. Okay. Well, what can you say? Hey, we're gonna talk about Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. So there you go. Yeah, Patrick Lemire. It's interesting how we almost all wonder what the FBI is doing now. My issue with Lennon was more how he treated Julian and Julia. So there you go.
Okay, I think I've stopped the stop the spread.
Alan's dog is downloading. What's he downloading?
How dare you misgender my dog?
X-Ray Girl is doing a gaming stream.
Yeah, that must be it.
All right, let's get ready, Alan. If you bring up the poster for War of the Rohirrim, let's do that.
Got it. There we go.
Cool. Okay, Alan, tell us about the the War of the Rohirrim. Give us the breadth of the story.
I hate this story so much.
This is a prequel to The Lord of the Rings, and there are some direct connections to the Peter Jackson trilogy, okay, story-wise. But give us just the broad strokes. We don't need that much.
Okay, strap in, folks. Here we go. Takes place long before the events of Lord of the Rings. We're in Rohan. The king is getting old. I'm gonna so mess this up.
Oh, it's fine.
King is getting old, and he has 2 sons and a daughter. The daughter is let's just say she's strong and she's brave, and one of the rivals of Rohan, his son is single. They know each other, and the son Wolf pledges his love to the young princess Hera. And she says, I'm not going to marry any man because I'm a strong woman.
Yeah.
And Wolf gets angry. Yeah, but we could build politics. And Wolf's father gets involved, and the king accidentally kills him. And so there's this conflict now between Wolf and Hera. And the whole movie is about trying to get the tribes back together in some peaceful way without having to marry Wolf in the process. How's that?
That was great, Alan. That was great. Before we talk about the story, let's talk about the animation. It is wildly inconsistent. There are action scenes that are clearly some rotoscoping, computers involved that look really good, that are in the spirit of Peter Jackson's vision for Lord of the Rings, which is really channeling Tolkien's vision for Lord of the Rings. So some of it is phenomenal and some is utter crap. I feel like they had different teams working on this that were like, oh, we'll have this team do the this big action scene. We'll have them do that. And then we'll have this team do this fight scene or just dialogue scene. Wildly inconsistent in the quality of the animation. So that was a bit distracting. I did get kind of caught up when they had flourishes of the original music from Lord of the Rings, which I really enjoy. I love those soundtracks. So, and it's filled with the member berries. Remember that? Remember these things? You've got and there is a really annoying cameo at the very end. A cameo in animation form of a major character from the Peter Jackson's trilogy. Like, they must have paid for his likeness to be able to do this. That took me out of it. But there are some, while there's like stuff that works, like, okay, that's a fine action sequence. The premise is where this falls short. I didn't hate this movie because I saw the potential of what it could be. Maybe they can really pull off like some other stories in the world of Lord of the Rings using animation. And I'll say right off the bat, is this better than Rings of Power? Yes, it is. It is better. It is at least focused on telling a single story. The problem is, so it's like, yeah, it's better than that. But where it's similar and fails is Hera. The character is, she's total girl boss. It's a made up character that really isn't part of the lore, according to LOTR expert Gary Beekler of Nerdrotic. It's so this is just kind of a perversion of Lord of the Rings.
And while I was like, all right, that was okay, it really doesn't advance or make things better. So where the Amazon series Rings of Power is really bottom of the basement, boring, awful, just dismissible. This is above that in some respects. Alan, what did you think of The Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim?
Yeah, you said it, a girl boss. That's all this movie is a story of a girl boss who is the princess being married off because of patriarchy. And then at the end, sorry to spoil this, but becomes the king or the leader of Rohan. You know, and that's, she doesn't change throughout the whole thing. I'm going to say the controversial thing here. We've been getting a lot of female protagonist movies, and they have not been good, to the point where a female protagonist movie is boring and bland. And it's not because it's a female protagonist, it's because we don't know how to write female protagonist characters.
Bingo.
And because this Hera here, she is the same person from beginning to end. Her entire quest is to overcome the patriarchy. Literally, that's what this movie is about, overcoming the patriarchy. And that's not good character development.
She has no personal journey at all.
Exactly.
She's great. I don't want to get married, and that's it. So
Yeah.
they took a Tolkien story, which could have been great, and inserted a modern female character right in the middle of what is a good story that could have made a really compelling film, and it fucking ruined it.
Yeah,
But, I think the only reason I enjoyed parts of it was because, in contrast, Rings of Power is so bad. It's so colossally bad.
Yeah,
and
but you can't
The
judge a
Hobbit,
movie. Yeah.
The Hobbit, let me finish. The Hobbit, I despised those Hobbit movies. Could not believe it even came from the same person. So the fact that I despised The Hobbit, Rings of Power was a colossal downgrade and just awful in every way. This was like, okay, it's a 4 or 5, which is more than I can say for Hobbit and Rings of Power.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah, the other thing, character arcs. I mean, you should grow as a character. You should grow as a person when you watch it.
Yes.
At the end, sorry to spoil the movie for you, but at
I
the
don't think
end,
people
her
care.
brothers, the heir to the kingdom, are killed, and the king says, "Well, you're clever, and that's why you should be king." Because during battle, she did something clever to survive. Therefore, she should be king. That, to me, those aren't the qualities of leadership. And again, I'll point to bad character development. I compare her to Merry and Pippin. When you look at Merry and Pippin and the way they act and the way they interact with others and themselves, you get a sense of their personality. You get a sense of their character. You get a sense of the struggles that they're both going to have to overcome by the end of the 3 movies. Pippin, he's the goofball of the troop, but he has to ultimately become a hero at some point. That's character development. You're in one position, and by the end of the movie, you've changed fundamentally as a person. And this movie, no, she does a clever thing, and now she's king. That's not character development. That's not anything we can relate to. And look, ultimately, you have to criticize and judge a movie based on what you're given. And this is bland. There's nothing behind this. There are images of Lord of the Rings, as you say, member berries, but none of it feels like it has any weight that every single damn character in the 3 movies had in this movie. And regarding the animation, some of it's great. I think the CG stuff, especially with the map, is great. When they got to the parts where they're talking, it felt like a WB television animated cartoon.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think WB does great animation for television, but that does not translate to the big screen. And that's the problem I have with animation with this one. So yeah, definitely not a recommendation. I'll give it a 3. I'll say it's less better than Kraven.
I'll give it a 4.5, but
You liked it better than Kraven, yeah.
Well, I liked it better than Rings of Power. Like I could do with some more Lord of the Rings. It's the perfect of all the trilogies of movies. If you rank trilogies of movies, the Lord of the Rings is the best. Great beginning, incredible middle, and a satisfying conclusion. You cannot say that about Terminator, Alien, Star Wars, even the original trilogy. You cannot say that. It is the most consistent. The Dark Knight trilogy. Look at trilogies of movies. Lord of the Rings did it best. So we're getting scraps here, and it's all less than that, and will only ever be less than that, because in the era we are now, if they try to redo Lord of the Rings, you know what they'll do. They'll snake Gandalf. They'll pull a Snape on Gandalf. Oh my God!
No, they'll do it to Aragorn. I mean, I guess we now have a black Aragorn. We're gonna have one in the remake.
Yeah, it's you cannot, because of modern sensibilities, so-called, that I don't think audiences like it. I think the creatives in Hollywood feel they must do this thing, and it is ruining the possibility of something great being done. I'll say this: Brian Cox was good as Helm. I want a hammer. I want one of those hammers.
You have one of those hammers, don't you?
Well, I don't know. Do you?
I do.
Where is it?
It's in the car.
It's in the car. Great. In your house for okay, cool. Yeah. Alan got a hammer popcorn bucket from this movie. The best thing to come out of this movie was Brian Cox's vocal performance and the popcorn bucket, which exists. So there you go. Non-recommends from us. And I would say maybe catch this on streaming at some point, because it is objectively, would you say it's better than Rings of Power?
Yes, but again, you have to judge the movie on its own. You can't, it's not better because Rings of Power exists.
That's fair. Fair, Alan, fair. Alan is just, and he's the fairest of them all when it comes to critics.
Yeah. I want to be the hottest, though.
Let's go to your comments.
All right. Around Charmin, I saw it today. It's not great. Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, it's not. You can't say it's great.
Hey, Willie the Monkey King's music. Saw War of the Rohirrim last night. It was meh.
Exactly.
The Nerd Far Away. Why is there a girl in the center of the poster? This is incongruent with Tolkien lore.
Yeah, that's true. Well, she's kind of a made-up character.
Let's see. Ryan Landis. Finally, a movie where a woman is strong and brave. First time in cinema ever. Cinema history. French Moon for €2. I'm in this nerd, not anime. Because not Japanese writers.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's not even anime. It's anime style. Casparius for $5. Have you seen the fan cut, the Hobbit Tolkien cut? The version that takes most of Legolas scenes and dwarf/elf romance, takes out most Legolas scenes and dwarf/romance, and cuts Radagast.
I'd like to see no, I have not seen that, Casparius. I would like to see that, because I feel like there was a good movie in there, but it was so self-indulgent with that HFR, that frame rate thing that he did that made it look like a soap opera. I hated that.
Yeah.
It was not great. So there you go.
I'm sorry. Okay, Ron Sherman, I fell asleep for some of it. Yeah, I had to watch this twice. I only got 20 minutes into it and I fell asleep, and I was lost, quite frankly. And I had to watch it again to figure out where I was. Lord Shax, question for Alan. In the movie, are there jiggle physics? Oh, I didn't know.
Yes. First of all, Alan, this is don't brush off this question.
Okay.
Please. I want to hear a genuine answer.
Well, the fact that I didn't notice should answer the question.
Yeah.
To answer that it didn't stand out in any way answers your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nuts. Okay.
I'm just saying muscular women, part of their anatomy is lessened. Marco CCS 65, Runaway Bride Tolkien edition.
There you go.
Just the fact that she just went out of her way to say, I ain't gonna marry no man.
Yeah, it was dumb.
Just stood out to me.
All right, real quick, we're gonna I want to talk one last quick review of the Daft Punk thing. If you bring that up, Alan, and I'll play a video while you're getting it set. I'll play a video. Wait, where's
Is this one?
Alan, you are my density. You're not gonna say anything?
Yeah, I wish I was the one dying.
Last night, I saw one of the weirdest movies I have seen this year. It is Daft Punk and Leiji Matsumoto Interstella 5555. This is basically an animated music video. The story is very thin about a group of blue aliens that are in a band that play music, are abducted, taken to Earth, painted flesh colored, and become huge stars on Earth, and then have to go battle in space. None of it makes sense. It's not supposed to. It's weird. But the whole thing is like a 1 hour long music video to Daft Punk. This was one of those one-time only events through it's sort of outside AMC A-list. You have to purchase a ticket, which my good friend Walter grabbed the ticket for me, and I got to see this. It was an experience, sort of like Tommy with The Who, where it's weird. Don't try to make sense of it. It's just weird anime set to the music of Daft Punk, and I loved it. I had a great time. It's because it's only an hour long. They supplemented the program with these classic music videos directed by Spike Jonze of Daft Punk music. One was directed by Roman Coppola. Super fun. It was a packed audience. People had Daft Punk helmets, and I loved it. If you like anime, if you like Daft Punk, this is for you. So it's sort of narrow audience. I'm surprised how packed it was. It was in one of the AMC's biggest theaters, but it was a one-time showing, an experience. I don't know if maybe it'll be released at some point, but quite enjoyed it. Daft Punk is like chill, sort of ahead of its time, weird, and the anime was just like, okay, it's anime logic. It's weird. It's strange characters and whatnot. The outer space alien stuff was weird. It reminded me of when I was a kid, and it reminded me of actually Fantastic Planet, the animated feature sci-fi directed by René Laloux that I saw at the early 70s as a kid. I was too young to see it. Trust me, I was way too young to see it. And this was a blast. It was like a concert event. Every song got applause at the end, and the experience of seeing it was a lot of fun. The anime is classic and just weird in a heavy metal sense, of the era, because the anime was done years ago. It's just, I don't know. I really enjoyed it. There's not, that's all there really is to say. It's like, it reminded me when I was a kid and I'd get an album, and an album covers and album jackets. The fold out was the best, where you would read everything, the liner notes on the sleeve and the inside. You'd put the music on, like say Pink Floyd, Dark Side of the Moon. You put that on and just
look at the pictures and sort of the meaning behind all of it. I'd have a pair of headphones on, record player playing, and just like your imagination would flow, or albums like The Who, Tommy, or like Rush, what is it? Rush 2112, like just like it was like an opera. So it just brought me back to that time of imagination, and it doesn't have to make sense. So I highly recommend it. But you probably missed it. So hopefully it comes out. There are clips about this you can find on YouTube. So strong recommend if you like Daft Punk, if you like, music operas. A lot of fun. Let's go to your comments here.
Weird. All right.
Weird.
Suns and Shadows for 2. To hating soap opera effects on movies and television.
I want to go into every Costco and Best Buy, grab the remotes for the TVs, and change it. There's a video actually of Tom Cruise talking about this. He hates it. I agree with him. Another reason to like Tom Cruise.
Yeah. Ruby for 5. I watched it yesterday in Burbank. Hey, I know someone who saw it in Burbank and wondered, how did a movie with no talking have a better story than most movies now?
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention that there's no dialogue in this. There is zero dialogue. It's wall-to-wall music. I mean, you can glean what's happening on the screen. The sort of veiled story is like, oh, okay. But yeah, no dialogue. Great, Rudy. Hey, you were in my audience. Did I see you? Say hi next time, Rudy. Thanks.
Yeah. Razorburn for 2. Chris, fave PIL album. Mine is First Issue. First Issue.
Yeah, I'd probably agree with that. I love PIL. Underrated.
The Bunny Pants, Chris Gore. Holy shit. I never thought I'd see another Tech TV Chris Gore show. Another host in my life. And here we are.
There we are.
Yeah. I don't think technically you were on Tech TV. You were on G4.
I was on the Screensavers for 3 episodes before they changed the name of the show to Attack of the Show. So yes. I wasn't technically on Tech TV, but I was on Screensavers.
All right. Davina Duckworth, Interstella 5555. The story and the secret star system was released in 2003 at Cannes.
Yeah, it's a weird, it's just weird and reminds me of an era when we were imaginative and didn't have to have things explained to us. And the fact that there's no dialogue is what made it work for me. So there you go. All right. That's going to wrap it up for us. We'll get to more movie reviews next week. There was one more movie, but I really want Alan to see it before we discuss it.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll be back with Versus on Monday. We will have Script Doctor and Paul Chato on Versus Monday. I'm looking forward to that. And thanks to our mods, Lord Thoth and Latino Slant. Thank you always to them. Alan, what do you got coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I'll be performing at the National Comedy Theater tomorrow in San Diego at 7:30. So check that out. NationalComedy.com.
And thank you also to Atomic Lori and Glenuccio, our producer. And also want to say I'm seeing a lot of movies this weekend. I'm seeing Better Man, Sing Sing, The Substance with Debbie Moore Q&A. So I'll be filming all those Q&As to bring them to you. It's a busy weekend for me. A busy weekend. So, and my Detroit Lions are doing very well. I'm very happy. Very happy. I wear Detroit Lions socks almost daily. To the point where I noticed one of my pairs of Detroit Lions socks has holes in it. Holes. Crazy.
Yeah, I gotta clean that one out.
All right. So have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thank you so much. We'll be back on Monday with Versus. Alan,
let's get out of here.